The Leap Foundation proudly presents the Meet the Mentor podcast with Dr. Bill Dorfman. Dr. Bill is a TV host, New York Times best-selling author, two-time Guinness World Book record holder, fitness guru, celebrity cosmetic dentist, and philanthropist who founded the Leap Foundation. Here's Dr. Bill.
Hey, Dr. Bill here. I'm super excited to do another Metal Man as my Meet the Mentor. Metal has been incredible. There have been so many amazing men that have just risen to the occasion and done these Meet the Mentors. What is Meet the Mentor? Well, we run an amazing program every year at UCLA called LEAP. The next one will be July 18th to the 24th. It is a motivational leadership program for high school and college students that teach you the skills that you need to be successful in life. And the thing that makes LEAP so special is the amount of great love and support that we get from our community with these amazing speakers. I mean, listen to this. We've had Mark Wahlberg, Anthony Hopkins, Paula Abdul, Michael Strahan, Jason Alexander, Kathy Bates, Tracy Bregman from The Young and the Restless, Chris Voss, who has the New York Times bestseller, Never Split the Deal, and Apollo Ono. I mean, on and on. Usher, Kevin Nealon. I mean, on and on and on and on. And one of the highlights of LEAP is the mentor workshop, and that happens on Friday. And basically what happens in the mentor workshop is you get to sit at a table. This year was virtual. Next year will be live. And talk to mentors and ask them the secrets of their success. And students come to this week-long program and they love the program. But the thing they always rank as their number one love of the program is the mentor workshop. And so kind of to prime the pump and keep students engaged and continue to learn, we do these Meet the Mentor weekly sessions where we bring in different professionals from all walks of life. We have doctors and lawyers and firefighters and composers and you name it. And we talk about, what it took to get to where they are. And my friend Brad has a really unusual path. And I think that there are some really good lessons. So even if you don't want to become a music composer, I think some of the lessons that you'll learn from Brad are really valuable. So without further ado, I am going to introduce you to Metal Man and my friend, Brad Chiet. He is a composer for film, TV, commercials. He's also the CEO and founder of Fuel Music. And he's going to tell you an interesting story about how he got to where he got in his profession. He is a multi-instrumental composer, arranger. He's been working in LA since before the very first Friends episode, and most of you kids weren't even born. He's originally from New York. He's won multiple awards for original compositions and international awards in television work. His music can be heard on top network shows, including Deal or No Deal, The Wall, Extreme Home Makeover, Saturday Night Live, SupperNanny, and many others. And at one point in here, we'll give you a little sampling of some of his stuff. And a little known fact, he holds a degree in industrial manufacturing engineering, which was what he did before he started composing. He was actually in the aerospace industry. So Brad, welcome. And another thing about Brad that's really special is he's a dad and he has two kids that attended LEAP, and he has actually been a mentor at LEAP 2 times. So welcome to Meet the Mentor, Brad.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bill. Right on.
So why don't we just jump into it? You were born to be a music composer. That's what you studied your whole life, right?
Well, it's funny because in my family, I was kind of the black sheep of the family. My dad was a lawyer. My mom was a school teacher. So I kind of stood out, but I always had this burning passion for music. And as I got older, I realized that actually my mom and dad were the black sheep in their family. And I have a whole heritage of music and composers. I had a great uncle who was the arranger for the Tsar of Russia. I have a great uncle who was first chair violinist at Radio City Music Hall. So, sometimes you feel like you're an outcast, you don't fit in, but you probably fit in somewhere, and you got to be true to yourself.
But let's go back, because your formal education was as an aerospace engineer, right? And they had nothing to do with music. And you had a very illustrious career in that industry. What happened?
Well, I think you can be passionate about more than one thing. And I always had a mechanical engineering mind. And in my family, it was either doctor, engineer, lawyer. Music wasn't an option. So I ended up going to engineering school, graduated, and I got a job at Martin Marietta, which is a big defense contractor. We worked on the F-18, the Harrier, the space shuttle. So a lot of huge projects. But, I started, and music was a hobby and something I did for fun. And I used to come home at night. Sometimes I'd sneak home at lunch and write music because I just really loved it. And then I started getting stuff played on the radio. And I was like, in my early 20s, and just, to turn on the local radio station and hear music you've done yourself was just so exciting and so exhilarating. I just had to, at least make a go of it, because that's the thing that really got me excited and turned me on. And I think that's super passionate. I think if you're going to do really well and be successful, it has to be something that really speaks to you and you enjoy, or else you'll just be mediocre. So that's my philosophy on it.
So you had a pretty illustrious career, though. I mean, you were making good money. You had a great position, and then what?
Well, I read a study somewhere that a lot of people spend more time planning a vacation than they do planning their life. So I really thought about what I was and who I wanted to be. And then, I asked myself the question, when I had an engineer, I had a 401k, I had all the, a steady salary and all, security and all that. But I thought to myself, what if I won the lottery? What would I do if I won the lottery? And I thought, if I won the lottery and, money wasn't a factor, I could just, quit my job, get, music equipment and record and do music. And then I thought, well, why don't I just do that? And even if I don't make any money, I'll still be living like I won the lottery. So that was my feeling on it. And I felt like, a lot of people thought it was a huge risk to stop doing the engineering, but I really wasn't enjoying it. And in my
How old were you?
How
old were you?
I was like 23.
Okay, so you're still a kid. I mean, this wasn't like you were in your 40s or 50s.
No. I was 23, 24. It felt old at the time. It was a real.
Were you married yet? Did you have any kids?
I wasn't married yet. I was, with somebody, and that actually changed what happened with that, because she meets this engineer in St. Louis, and then all of a sudden I turn into this musician in California. So, but I think you really have to be true to yourself and who you are, or else you really won't be happy, and I don't think you'll find success. And I don't think, I do the mentor thing, and a lot of kids come up to me because I do music and they have an interest in music. Some of them, that's what they have to do. It's like, that's what you have to do. Then, for better or for worse, that's what you have to do. But some people had several interests, and you can combine those interests. And, music can be a hobby, or it can be part of what you do, or associated with, you can be a producer, or you could be a lawyer in the music industry. So I had an engineering, I always wanted to get into automotive. So I do a lot of commercials and licensing for the automotive industry. It all comes around. I think if you're true to the things that interest you, no matter how diverse and weird they sound, there's some job or some career or some opportunity that will really embrace who you are when you're true to your passion and who you believe you should be.
Well, when did you first start writing music?
I played when I was little, and it was more for fun, but I think, I guess in college, this is what happened. In college, I was engineer, I was really getting burnt on it. And then my brother sent me one of those, I don't know if you remember this, but it was like a little Walkman. It was a little battery pack unit.
Yeah, of course.
You plug your guitar into it, and it was a Rockman. And you plug your guitar into it, and this was like in the 80s. And you put headphones on, and it sounds like you're in a recording studio. It has like reverb and distortion, and it was awesome. And it got me re-inspired. And then I bought a little, like from a pawn shop, a little 4-track. And I think this goes to something that actually Hannah, who attended LEAP, was telling me. There's a lot of traditional. People think you have to go to school and do this and do that, which often is good. But sometimes you just you just do it. You know, like a lot of these people who want to do music, they go to UCLA, they go to the extension program, but they still haven't written any music at home. You know, you can write music and do it, or whatever you're passionate about. You don't have to wait to get the degree or wait to go to school. You just do it. And that's, you know, segue into Hannah and Leap. She learned she could do things differently and make connections and talk to people and follow your passion and think about how you could do it and not wait for someone to give you permission or have to go to school, and you could just go ask people and find things out. And one thing that she talked about in Leap was copy genius, which you guys
We're talking about Hannah Brown, who was on The Bachelor.
Okay, yeah. So Hannah, you know, my daughter wanted to be a script supervisor and has, you know, she was in high school, you know, knows nothing about it. So she heard, you know, Hannah Brown talk about that and copy genius. So she just went to a neighbor who she knows is in the industry, and then got to hang out on a set. So she hangs out on the set and she sees the music supervisor. So something she would not have done before Leap was just go up and say, hey, you know, I'm interested in music supervising. How do you do it? How does it work? And the lady was really cool and was like, let me show you. So she gave her some books to buy. She told her how to do it. And then the funny thing is she started getting some work with some student films and things where there were people who went to school who she was telling what to do, who were in film school, but didn't have the gumption to just take charge and take action, which, you know, she kind of learned from the mentor program. It's like she took a leap ahead, basically, you know, and just, if you want to do it, you just do it. And then you'll get good at it and people will recognize you.
You know, I think that there's a very popular belief today that, oh, you don't need to go to college, you know, you just, you know, go and learn, go and work and go. And, you know, yeah, sometimes that's true, but I'll tell you something that a lot of kids miss. College isn't just about your core curriculum. College is about growing. College is about maturing. College is about, I mean, this is going to sound crazy. I'm a dentist. You know, I was a psychobio major. I took psychobiology classes. You want to know the most valuable thing I learned in college?
What's that?
Cheerleading.
Yeah.
Okay. How crazy was this? I was a nerd in high school. I was on the swim team. All I did was swim. Swim, 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 like 4 hours a day. I didn't talk to people. My only friends were on the swim team, and I didn't talk to them because we swam, right? I'm sitting in math class, and I also did gymnastics. And a girl next to me says, hey, I just made the cheerleading squad, and I need a partner. I'm like, what is that? She goes, well, you can tumble, right? I said, yeah. She goes, you want to be on the squad and you can tumble and do lifts and things. I'm like, okay. All of a sudden I went from nobody at school knowing me to being with the most popular people in school, right? Yeah. It changed my life like that. So I get to UCLA, there's 30,000 students there, and I'm lost, you know, I don't know anybody, I'm hating it. You know, in high school, I had a brother in every grade. We were 4 boys. It was easy. Everybody knew me. They at least knew I was Gary's brother, David's brother. You know, like I felt, I'm at UCLA with 30,000 people. Nobody knows me. And I hated it. So I thought, you know what? I'll try out for cheerleading. You know, it worked in high school. Well, same thing happens. And one of the things that was probably the most valuable thing I learned in college, we had no budget back then. And we wanted to travel and go with the team to like Notre Dame and all these big games. So we started a little company in my squad making paraphernalia, buttons and scarves and hats. And I learned business that way. Yeah. And we funded all of our travel that way. So I think it's important that students listen to this and realize that, you know, going to college isn't just about a core curriculum. There's other things that happen there too that's important. And, you know, if you're a freshman in college and you just get like the lead role in a feature film, yeah, take it. That may change the trajectory of your whole life. but I still think even actors like
100%.
Sean Astin, who starred in Lord of the Rings and Rudy and all this, while he was acting, he went back and finished college and is really proud of that. So
well, I think what's important about school and learning is, people hire you not just because of the one skill you can do. I mean, I do deliver on the music, but I have a vast knowledge of a lot of things. I read, I have interesting things to talk about. And in school, the thing I learned from engineering, which has helped me immensely, is as an engineer, I learned about problem solving, which is what I use in trying to figure out how to break into this business, how to switch careers when I'm on a project and you're scoring a film. There's problems in the film, things that aren't working, and you have to be a problem solver. Also, you learn, I think, a lot of accountability in school, which is key. I know a lot of really talented people, and sometimes I hire them for little projects, but they don't know how to follow through and have accountability. And I think that's one of the main things you learn at school is to mature.
totally.
And at UCLA, they hook, if you're going to the film program or whatever, you end up hooking up with other producers and directors, and these are the people who are happening, who you kind of carry with you. So you find your group of people who you learn a lot from. Also, I joined a fraternity, so I learned about making projects happen, making things happen. I used to put on a lot of the events and the parties and learn how to organize things. I do a huge Oscar party every year. Last year, we did it with the PGA. We had over 400 people there from the Producers Guild. All that was skills I learned from college and having parties in the fraternity. So it's
right. I mean,
it carries on over and over and over.
So let's go back to your career, though. So here you are, you're 23, you're working as an engineer, and you decide, no, I'm going to do this music thing. Tell me the steps that you took to basically transition from one career to the next.
It's basically, you just make the decision that you're going to do it. And someone told me this when I got here. They said, the people who make it are the people who stick with it. And I think the key is whatever plan you have, you're going to run against a lot of roadblocks and a lot of things are going to go wrong. And some people, that doesn't mean you quit. Oh, it was tough, I quit. You just kind of rethink and change direction. And if you stick with something long enough, you will have success.
Yeah, but I want to know what you did. I get that.
Well,
that's
first,
the logic behind it. But what'd you do? Did you call music company? What'd you do?
Okay, well, I had a friend of the family's who was doing voiceover, and he told me, first make a demo reel. You want to do commercials, people want to see you've done commercials. So I made up some fake commercials. So I just wrote them myself, or I took scripts from somewhere or wherever and I just made up fake commercials, and I had a friend who was a voiceover voice some of them for me. So I had something to show for it. So I are we still on here? So I didn't wait. I did it. I didn't wait to go to, I just.
All right. So you basically made a little demo reel. By the way, what we're going to do right now is I'm going to have John play some of the commercials and stuff that you've done for TV, for different TV shows and whatnot, just so students will get kind of a taste of some of the stuff you did. So let's just take a minute and play some of the stuff. This is actual stuff. This isn't the fake thing that I was talking about.
And that question is, deal or no deal?
All right. So I did all the, all that music for Deal or No Deal.
Tonight, on a very special 2-hour Extreme Makeover Home Edition.
Hope Ian lived up. Some cartoons. This is The Good Family, which is the same people who did King of the Hill. So I think the point is I see so many guys. They're students at UCLA in the film program, but they haven't really written anything because they didn't have that class yet. You learn by doing. You got to put the hours in. So I put the hours in buying equipment, figuring out how it worked, writing stuff that was good. Some of it wasn't. So honing the craft. because it's about
Okay, so now you have a little demo of what you can do. What'd you do with that?
Then what I did was I sold everything I had. I was living in St. Louis. I really thought about it. I quit my job, sold everything I had, and I came to Los Angeles because at the time, that's where things were happening. So I wanted to be where commercials and TV shows and things were happening. So I moved out here. I took the steps to be where I needed to be. And then I went, this is before the internet, I went to the library, the local library, and I got some of those big books and I looked up the companies that do music commercials and music production and producers, and had a big whiteboard and called them up and introduced myself. I made little tapes, cassette tapes that I sent out to them, got meetings, and it was tough because it didn't just work immediately. I tried to hire, I remember, and a big changing point was I was trying to hire a rep, like some of these, that you can hire these professional reps. So after years of building up a little bit of a reel and getting some jobs, I hired this rep and I gave her my package tape and I sent it to her. And then I also went to a big music house and had a meeting. And then I saw he had my reel on his desk. And I'm like, and he was interviewing me. And it turns out that the rep that he was trying to hire was someone I talked to. And she told him, I'll tell you what, I'll take the job, but you have to hire Brad and I'll come work for you. So that's how I got in my first big music house.
You know what? And I love asking people, like, what do you feel was your big break in the industry? Would you say it was that?
That was one big one, because it got me in a top music house where we hired, he had budgets for hiring bands, orchestras. On Extreme Home Makeover, we went to Prague and did a live orchestra. That's something I couldn't have done myself. We went over to the Sony lot and did a Toys R Us commercial for Christmas on one of the big scoring stages. It was like, it opened a lot of opportunities.
What was your background in music? I see you have a guitar there. You play guitar, or what else?
Yeah, that's
piano.
The funny part. I didn't really have a strong music background. I had taken some guitar lessons and piano. I had an engineering degree.
Right.
I didn't have a music background, but I bought some books and I tried to teach myself and learn. But the thing is, there's a lot of guys who are so talented and so great, but they don't have the follow through or the passion. And I guess this is partly going back to college, and learning how to follow through and the things you teach at LEAP, how to make things happen. I mean, you also have to have a mind for business and know how to connect and be and engage with people, and how to put yourself out there. So that's a whole nother skill to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and that's so important no matter what business you're in. So let's back up. So you're doing engineering. You decide music is my passion. You sell everything you have. You move from St. Louis. You come to LA. All you have is this little demo tape. You start knocking on doors saying, listen to me, listen to me. You get a big break. You get into this studio. And then what happens? Like, were you alone? Did you start a company? Did you have a partner? Like, I want to know. I want to know everything.
I was pretty much alone. And then, and I would hire some people. This is one thing I did that a lot of people don't do. A lot of young guys try to do it all themselves, like all the music, all the things. And I had the advantage of knowing I wasn't the best guitar player, the best keyboard player. I mean, I wasn't great at this. Some of these guys are like super talented and they can do everything themselves. And it sounds good, but I couldn't, which was my advantage because I knew I had to hire and work with other people. So I would spend the time and money to get the bass player, hire the drummer, go to a studio, bring my charts, just get some people who are amazing. I've worked with, people who have toured with Pink Floyd, people who have toured with Foreigner, Aerosmith, like all these huge bands. I would get the best people that would elevate me and make my music and my reel sound great. I mean, in the beginning, it was all me. But as I started getting bigger projects, I would still spend the money and the time to do something great and not just try to do it all myself and save money. I wasn't cheap with my product. And a lot of people, they spend all this time and energy and then they cheap or they go short at the end, which I never understand. I mean, I moved all the way out here, quit my job, did all this. I wasn't going to stop at the point where I could hire a great guitar player or the best singer I could find. You know,
Yeah, I mean, at Leap we say go big or go home. You know,
I got the best. I mean, the best, and that's another.
And I
reason.
think another important thing too that a lot of students need to realize, everybody's on this, you know, you can do anything, you can do. I'm going to be honest with you, you can't do anything you want to do. And don't kid yourself. I mean, look, I don't know what universe you're in. I could never be an NBA basketball player. I'm 5'10" and I hate basketball. So, I mean, even if I love basketball at 5'10", these guys are like 8 feet tall now. I mean, I could never be an NFL football player. You know, I could never be a musician. I just don't have the musical gift. I just don't. And, you know, and I think that for a lot of kids today, it's hard for them to realize that. I just interviewed a guy last week who is a Broadway actor, and he was in a program. They call it a cut program, where they basically, in college, it was a musical theater arts program. They basically take in 200 students, and every year they cut half the students. And after 4 years, there are 11 students in the program. And now, not to say that everybody else would never have a chance to make it, but it's kind of real life. I mean, and at a certain point, you have to really be realistic. And the other thing I love about you, and in particular, is that you realize, yes, I love music, but I want to monetize this skill. Like, I would like to eat and have a family and survive. You know, you can't survive on musical notes.
Yeah. So I think, well, two things I want to say is, one thing, it really, it depends on the questions you ask yourself. You got to ask yourself the right questions. And the question I had was not like, I want to be a famous musician. I mean, I'm not, that's not me. But I asked myself, how can I make money making music? I wanted to make it a career. So that's why I got into television, primarily because you get residuals, and that seemed the best career choice. And I knew I loved writing music, but I'm not going to be up on stage in front of thousands of people. You know, I'm more of a writer. Another thing I want to say is that, you know, it's about your network and the people you get in your group, because you want to get support. You can't, even if it's something you love, even if you're a great basketball player, you hire a great coach, you get a great team around you. It's about the team. So you guys got to build a strong team. That's key. And don't think you have to do everything. I mean, John Williams is one of the best composers in the world, but he has a whole orchestra. He's not playing every instrument. Right. He hires people. I mean, everybody does that. Everybody gets help. Everybody gets support. And the best people have a team to help them. So, you know, and that's, you know, going back to school or whatever, or getting involved in organizations or wherever you learn, you know, reaching out and finding people who are better than you, who elevate you, who support you, who have, you know, goals and interests like you do, and hiring people when you need to, you know, have some money so you can hire people and pay people. And that brings up another thing, is empowering choices. It's all about the choices you make. I made it, you know, when I was an engineer, I could have bought a brand new car. You know, that's all my friends would do. Everybody goes in Hawk, they get a new car. But I decided I didn't want to do that. And because I didn't do that, I had the finances to just sell everything, come out to California and try to do this dream. So you got to make smart choices, you know, financially, with your time. One of the things me and my friend did was we both got rid of our TVs. We're like, this is a time suck. It's not teaching us anything. So I see so many kids and people, they're just on their phone, you know, watching TV shows, and which is fun sometimes, but you don't want to make that what you do all day, because that's not going to make you have more value or teach you skills that are going to make you more valuable to people or achieve your goals. So you got to make, you know, choices. Once you know what your goal is and your passion is, do things that support that and empower that, and will help you on that journey.
I agree 100%. So let's just back up again for a second. Let's say I'm a student, I'm in high school, I'm in college, and I really want to do what Brad's done in your life. I want to go, I mean, not the engineering part, but I really want to go into music composition. I want to compose for TV and movies. I want to be the next Hans Zimmer. You know, what steps would you suggest a student start taking now that would give them more of an advantage and prepare them better for a career in your industry?
I think you got to be great at what you do. You got to put in the hours. So if you want to be like Hans was in a lot of bands, I actually worked at his studio for a while, and he had a whole team of great people around him, by the way. But you got to make the right choices to learn the craft. And if you want to play an instrument, you're going to have to put in the hours to learn piano while you're young, and learn and buy some equipment and learn how to use it yourself. Don't wait for somebody to hand it to you or bring it to you. You got to go get it, make it happen. So that would be the thing, it's all about the hours. The younger, the better. I have a son, Sam. He's 19 now. He's writing. He did a game. He programs. That's his passion. He did a game. He got over 4 million downloads.
Wow.
I remember when he was like, he started programming when he was like 12. He was passionate about it. He put in hundreds of hours. He could teach college students, but it's the hours, it's the hours. So you got to put the time in and make sure it's something you're passionate about to put the time into.
But let's be a little more concrete. I mean, yeah, you need to put time in. I get it. But time doing what? Like if I really wanted to go into your profession, I mean, obviously I would say you need to at least understand music or play an instrument and all that. But what else?
I bought the books on people who were doing what I did, and I was talking about my daughter Hannah, but it's like taking the shortcut. Talk to people who have done it before. I've reached out to and called people, and they were really nice. They would, especially when you're young, they'll let you come to the studio, find people in your area who do the thing you want to do and talk to them, and they'll totally appreciate it. 99.9% of the time, they'll often invite you to come hang out. Sometimes that will even turn into a job or a part-time thing where you can hang out. If you want to work for a composer, just call some up or see if you can get some help. Watch some videos on it, read books on it, learn about it. Offer, like there are other students who are film composers. You could offer to score their film for free, or just to keep the credit. So you got to do it and talk to people who are doing it, and don't wait.
I think that's really, really wise. And, at Leap, we always say copy genius, right? And the fastest way to success is with a great mentor. If you can find people that will let you shadow them and really see what they do on a day-to-day basis, that would be amazing as well.
Yeah, I think I have a book here. I wish I had it, but I don't know if you remember the Budweiser commercial. This Bud's for you, for all the things. Big, huge commercial in the 70s and 80s. So I called the guy up who did it and wrote a book on it. I think it was called The Jingle Jungle. And he talked to me. He sent me his demo reel. We established a relationship. When I came out to LA, I went to some of the hugest studios, and they let me just come in and hang out for a session. So I got to know who like the top players are too. So I'm like, getting numbers of these great musicians and seeing how it's done. So you have that vocabulary. Going to film, I went to Sundance Film Festival for over 20 years. Every year I went so I could hang out with producers and directors, so I could speak their language and understand what their needs are and what they're thinking about. It's not just about what you do, it's the people who are going to hire you, understand where they're coming from, and hang out with them as well.
So you've been to Leap 2 times as a mentor, and you have 2 kids that have gone through Leap. What message would you like to leave my Leap students with as we conclude this?
I think, I talked to Hannah today, and I asked her, and I talked to Max too, my youngest, who went. And I think they just learned that you can actually do things differently and go up to people and ask. I mean, Hannah told me that she learned, like when she went to the script supervisor and just went up to her and said, "Hey, I'm interested in doing this." You can do that. You can go up and ask somebody, and they won't get mad at you. You can take initiative and make the effort. You don't have to wait to go to school or wait till you're ready. It's like there's the people who are the most successful, jump off the plane and then figure out how to use the parachute on the way down.
Right.
So, and the point being is that, you want to be prepared, but you could just put yourself, you could prepare forever and never do it. Sometimes you'll learn on the way down. And the copy genius is something she talked about too, where you find a mentor, ask somebody who's done it, read some biographies on people who've done it, watch some videos on YouTube on people who do the thing you think you want to do. You might even learn that's really not what you want to do, which is empowering too, because then you can refocus and change direction, because you're going to learn and change what you want to do a few times probably when you're young. But in the end, somehow it all becomes your unique package you have to offer that no one else has, that makes you specially perfect for this particular job you'll end up doing or getting. So
that's awesome. All right, one last thing before we go. You've done a lot of projects. You've been in your industry now for what, almost 30 years?
Yeah.
25?
Yeah, like 30. Yeah.
What would you say is the single project that you would say, if this were my legacy, I am most proud of this?
I guess I did a lot of extreme home makeover, home edition. That was a big show. That was a huge show. And the thing that was nice about that is I always have people come up to me, and there's this part in the show where, the family has some problem or issue and their house is decrepit and they rebuild the house. And there's this part where they bring the family to see their home like totally rebuilt, and they have the big bus in front of it, and they can't see anything. And then all of a sudden the bus moves, and this, we got a live orchestra in Prague, which we did not have to do. We could have just done it with synths, but we went big and made it awesome. And people really get emotional and cry when they move that bus and the big strings and the big music, and they're seeing their beautiful new home and the start of their new life for the first time. So that's something I'm really proud of, and that I was able to make that emotional impact on so many people. And that show really changed a lot of the way a lot of reality music was done, just the style and the live music, and really having a whole sound for the whole show, which was really cool. And people really resonated with it.
That's awesome. Well, I had a little bit to do with that because my show, Extreme Makeover, was the precursor to Extreme Makeover Home Edition.
I know,
and
man.
what we learned was that people liked watching houses be made over better than watching people be made over. So that show stayed on air longer. Hey, Brad, thank you so much for your time, for your energy, for your support. And I hope to have you back at LEAP as a mentor year after year after year. I'd love to see your kids there again. And with that,
great program.
Depending on when this is coming out, happy holidays, a happy new year to everybody.
You too.
Dr.
Thank you.
Bill.
Thank you, Bill. All right. Take care.
Over and out.
To learn more about the LEAP Foundation, go to leapfoundation.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/LEAP Foundation or on Instagram at LEAP Foundation. Listen to the Meet the Mentor podcast with Dr. Bill Dorfman on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.